So this is the time of year when the Lord of the Universe, Sri Jagannāth Dev, he comes out of his temple, which is existing from time immemorial. It survives all the destruction cycles after Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga. They switch in this particular cycle. Dwapara and Treta switch. So tree, anytime you hear tree, that means 3. Treta, 3. But it switches because Swayam Bhagavan Krishna comes in this Dwapara Yuga. So during this cycle, Mahaprabhu himself comes. Radha and Krishna combined in one form. Radha Bhav, Rasaraj, Mahabhav, Dui Eka Rupa. So Rasaraj, the king of Rasa, Krishna, and his better half, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in female form, Radha, they combine together and they come in this Kali Yuga. And the Ratha Yatra is central to Mahaprabhu's pastimes. He spends the last years of his pastimes in Jagannath Puri, worshipping Jagannāth. And to us, we see this, in Srila Sridhar Maharaj's term, this awkward form. And there's a beautiful history, why he looks like this. Why does Krishna look like Jagannāth? It's an amazing explanation. I'll just pull it up here. I was trying to explain to my doctor about Jagannāth, but I didn't want to overwhelm him with so many unfamiliar terms and concepts. Like, how do you explain this to someone who's unfamiliar? It's all very esoteric and very high, very deep understanding. So I failed in my attempt, but I did send this article to him. And it's an article that appeared in the Counterpoint magazine, Devashish Prabhu publishes. And it explains how Krishna appears in Vrindavan, and at a certain age he leaves Vrindavan, he goes to Mathura to kill Kamsa. Then he goes to Dwaraka, where he is king. He is a king in Dwaraka, and he has so many wives. What is it? 16,108 wives. Only Krishna can do this. Don't try to do this at home. And it's, you know, some of us might, especially American background, like, wait a minute. So many wives, that's like a little over the top, kind of sexist idea, but this is Krishna Lila, and he's reciprocating with his devotees. This is how, you know, we all have a tendency for love. And in Krishna Lila, you can have Shantaras, a neutrality relationship, like objects. Someone's love may be in a neutral position. That's called Shantaras. That's Prahlad Maharaj is the epitome of Shantaras. You can love him as a servant, Dasyaras. You can love him as a friend, Sakyaras. You can love him in a parental mood. It's called Vatsalyaras. And ultimately, the highest type of relationship, which is what our gurus are delivering to us, is Madhura Rasa. It's a conjugal, paramour, loving relationship with Krishna. So Krishna is reciprocating with the inner tendency of love with his devotees. And in Dwarka, he has so many devotees that love him as a husband. They are the queens, he's the king, and he expands himself. Not everyone can do this. Not anyone, no one can do this. He expands himself to live with each queen in each palace. But they notice sometimes, like, he's a little absent-minded. Sometimes sleeping in the bed, he's calling out the names of his friends, the names of his cows, the names of the gopis from Vrindavan, and they're wondering, like, and sometimes he's feeling so much separation from Vrindavan, his hometown, that he can't get out of bed. And they're very curious, like, what is this? Like, what did he do, especially with the gopis, the cowherd girls, the milkmaids of Vrindavan? What were those pastimes in his youth? What did they consist of? And how did these pastimes go on in Vrindavan when Krishna was living there in his childhood? And Balaram's mother, her name's Rohini, she is a Brajavasi, she's from Vrindavan. She came to visit Dwarka, and the queens privately call her to please tell us about these pastimes of Krishna in his childhood in Vrindavan. And they're very confidential, and you don't want to misunderstand. You can make offense by thinking Krishna as an ordinary human. So she posted Subhadra at the door to guard Krishna's sister Subhadra. And she's at the door, outside the door, making sure no one enters. And the queens ask Rohini, please tell us about the amorous pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan with the gopis, the cowherd girlfriends of Krishna. So she begins to tell these pastimes. And Krishna and Balaram, Krishna and his brother Balaram, are in a nearby room. They start to hear that these pastimes are being discussed by Rohini inside the room. They sense, like, the voltage of this conversation, and it's stirring these amorous feelings inside of them. They come to the door and they're listening. And they start feeling these ecstatic emotions within their heart and mind, and then some physical transformation takes place. Also, Mahaprabhu, when he's ecstatic, he becomes disfigured. Sometimes his arms and legs become elongated, or sometimes they enter into his body like a tortoise. All the pores of his body expand, and he even when he fell into the ocean in Jagannāth Puri, the fishermen took him out. He didn't look like an ordinary human. He looked like some kind of disfigured, I don't know what it's described, like some non-human species floating in the ocean. And he was very scared. But Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, they're hearing through the door Rohini telling the queens, Krishna's queens, about the Brajalila in Vrindavan, and they start this ecstatic transformation. But Rohini, she senses, oh, from the outside, they are listening. And she stops. she doesn't continue to tell when she realizes that they're outside listening. And this creates, in like Srila Sridhar Maharaj's analogy, it's like a train wreck. They're all ecstatic and they're transforming and they're going mad and they're hearing this and remembering this, and all of a sudden it stops abruptly. And they're like suspended in this unusual ecstatic transformation. Stuck and like suspended in this mood of ecstasy. And this change in their bodies is irreversible. So this is Jagannāth's form. That's why he looks like that. And that's why Subhadra and Baladev, brother and sister, they're participating in this, they're hearing this, and they also transform. So the three of them together are in this awkward figure. Big eyes and arms and legs retracted into their body. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj beautifully explains this. The queens want to know about Madhura Rasa, this conjugal paramour love, and they're hearing about it, and this triggers Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, the cause of their disfiguration was the Vrindavan sentiment expressed by Rohini, Balaram's mother. Remembering that Vrindavan Leela and feeling it, such change came in their bodies. So the Leela being described was suspended, and this disfigured formation of Krishna remains. And he fell into a trance. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj in this article explains how a replica of Vrindavan was created in Dwaraka, where Krishna can go and see have some remembrance of Vrindavan Leela. And there's mannequins placed around in this replica of the gopis, of his parents, of the cows, of the peacocks, and the gopis. Radharani's there, and he's losing his mind and getting some home comfort in his own divine, supreme way. So, so Srila Sridhar Maharaj said the psychology of Vrindavan here is all important. The attraction for Vrindavan pastimes, when that was suddenly stopped, the result was a great change in the physical plane. Of course, it's not physical, but for the purpose of explanation, we can say physical. That check, that stopping of the description of the pastimes, caused the disfigurement of the external plane. It's something like an earthquake. He mentioned the train wreck. Srila Sridhar Maharaj famous for his use of analogy. He gives two analogies in this talk: the train wreck and the earthquake. The internal movement of the earth disfigures the surface. So the internal disturbance that was created by the recollection of Vrindavan Leela, that caused a transformation in the superficial appearance. When that was suddenly checked, that appearance remained. That has been pictured and shown in Jagannāth Dev. When the higher prospect is suddenly checked, the reaction comes. So Jagannāth is a reactionary stage between Vrindavan and Dwaraka. The conflict between the emotion of Swayam Bhagavan and the Vaibhava Vilas of Krishna. It is something like rasabhas, the clashing of two rasas, of two pastimes. the clash of two different waves of rasa. The train may be proceeding in a particular motion and the carriage along with it, but if suddenly the train should break abruptly, then the contents inside the carriage will be thrown into great disorder. It's something like that. So, he said, this Jagannāth deity has been there from the very conception, from the most ancient time. It's eternal. Every part of the infinite is eternal. Everywhere is center, nowhere is circumference. This is the meaning of the infinite, and it's eternal. So, so tomorrow is that day. Krishna, the temple in Jagannath Puri represents Dwaraka Krishna with his brother and sister. Having heard these pastimes of the Braja Gopis and being suspended and disfigured, hearing these pastimes, they are taken out of the temple, which, by the way, is restricted. Not everyone can go in. You need to be born into a Hindu culture, Hindu family to go there. Even Rupa and Sanatan, they didn't enter because they were born in Brahmin families, but they worked for the Muslim government. So that's considered contaminating. They weren't technically allowed to go. They didn't try to go, and they stayed respectfully from a distance. Haridas Thakur also didn't go into Jagannath temple. And they stayed from a distance and they worshipped the flag and the chakra of Jagannath temple. They'd even try not to go too close to the temple because they didn't want to rub against any of the servitors of Jagannath. They were very humble. And Mahaprabhu and all the devotees would bring them Mahaprasadam. They would participate in the Ratha Yatra, which is taking place tomorrow, where everyone can go and see the deities. Some people get really upset that they can't go into the temple. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains, it's a material conception. The rule is that like some impurity is there in those who have no regulation. The mlechas, the yavanas, that includes us. We are considered mlecha. It's a term we're like coming from meat eating culture, where we have actually no culture. We're not regulating ourselves according to, Vedic ideals and proper cleanliness culture and moral rules and codes. We come from a culture that doesn't respect this, and we're living randomly and engaging in very indiscriminate acts. That's the description of a malecha and a yavana. And eating meat and not following any regulation according to spiritual code. So the rules of Jagannath temple, these kind of people can't come in and introduce contamination. So, we accept that. But Jagannath, there's, I don't know how many offerings of bhoga come to him. It's like hundreds. There's a gigantic kitchen, which is all day long cooking for Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, and offering to him. He designs his worship so that everyone will get mercy in the form of the Mahaprasadam. And so many blessings are there for one who takes Jagannath Mahaprasadam. One of the blessings in it, I've just reviewed this with reliable sources, that one who takes Jagannath Mahaprasadam, they will never descend into the lower species of life. Yeah. And it's not exaggeration, it's not a legend or a fable. I thought maybe it's just some kind of legend, but it's a fact. That one who honors this Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath, they'll never become a cat, they'll never become a worm, and they will only pick up from where they left off with this huge blessing, this sukriti behind them. So much fortune is there in taking this prasadam. This is Jagannath's design, that everyone will get mercy, anyone who takes this Jagannath prasadam. And those pandas, the brahmanas and the different pandas in the Jagannath temple, the servitors of Jagannath, they have so much faith in Mahaprasadam that they will eat it out of a dog's mouth. Inconceivable. They're very strict about who can enter the temple. They don't want to introduce contamination of the malechas. But if someone sees, someone challenges, it would be like a challenge, eat from the dog's mouth. They would do it to show how much faith they have in this Mahaprasadam. Also, it's described that taking this Mahaprasadam will burn all sins to ashes. So many blessings are there. And of course, the more we have appreciation for it, the more benefit will come to us. Even if one unconsciously, they don't even know they're taking Jagannath Prasadam, they will get Agyata Sukriti plus so many blessings. But if one knowingly takes it with respect, with enthusiasm, with honoring mentality, so much purification and blessing takes place, and they'll never go down. They will only get an auspicious, a favorable next opportunity in life, a bright future forward in the pastimes of the Lord as reality, the beautiful. They will get reciprocation from the universe, the Lord of the universe. So it's also described, there's some scripture, some mention that even spending 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 3 nights is the magic number. If you spend 3 nights in Jagannath Puri, you will attain so much fortune. I don't know the details, I'd have to do my homework, but so much spiritual, it's equivalent to so much austerity performed for the service of the Lord, and so much service rendered equals just spending a night or 2 or 3, what to speak of more, in Jagannath Puri. And it's also mentioned that the inhabitants of Jagannath Puri, they have 4 arms, not 2. So Jagannath comes out of his temple so everyone can see him, and his purpose is to go to Vrindavan, to visit Vrindavan, to visit his hometown with his brother and his sister. Actually, he brings his brother and his sister to make it look good for optics. Actually, he wants to see Radharani, his love, and his girlfriends. And that's the secret mission of Jagannath. And Gundicha temple, where he goes is, it represents Vrindavan. So he's going to his hometown to visit his conjugal lovers in Vrindavan. So it's a huge festival happening tomorrow in Jagannath Puri. If you go to YouTube, you'll see it's being broadcast live by many channels. You can watch this whole event. And they're brought to Vrindavan in their Rath carts, their chariots. Jagannath has a chariot, Subhadra, Baladev, they each have their own chariot, and everybody pulls them from Dwaraka to Vrindavan, the big pulling. And today, Mahaprabhu performs the pastimes of preparing this Gundicha temple, Vrindavan, cleaning everything, preparing for the Lord to come and sit. So this is a very significant pastime. Mahaprabhu wakes up early in the morning with his associates, and they all bring brooms and buckets and scrub brushes, and they clean and they wash this Gundicha temple, preparing for the Lord's arrival tomorrow. And it's a very significant pastime that is parallel to cleaning the heart, allowing the Lord to land in the throne of our hearts, in a purified heart. So removing all the dust, removing all the impurities and the stones and the sticks and whatever rubbish may be there. Mahaprabhu's, with his associates, is cleaning the temples, cleaning the temple and the whole surrounding areas, and he's leading this service by example. And he's cleaning with his own cloth, he's cleaning with his tears, he's in so much ecstasy, worshiping Jagannāth. And this whole pastime is described elaborately in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We didn't get to that today, because I'm also trying to mention who is Jagannath, first of all. How did he become like this disfigured, awkward, amazing form? And what is the meaning of all of it? It's a lot to explain in a short time. And we can't actually intellectually conceive of this. It's a descending thing. So if, like Mahaprabhu's cleaning the temple, making it ready for the Lord to arrive, we are also cleaning our hearts, our minds, and allowing the Lord to descend in our hearts. So this is that time of year. And in each of our temples around the world, we honor this day of Gundicha temple by cleaning our own temples. And today, devotees will come and clean every part of the temple. I'll be in the garden with Ananga. We went and bought many flower trees and fruit trees, and it's a good day for planting, according to the Vedic almanac. Today up until 1 o'clock can plant, and then Friday and Saturday also are good days. So we'll be digging holes and planting trees today. And devotees will be cleaning the temple and the kitchen and all the surrounding areas. And tomorrow we will observe Ratha Yatra. I had the fortune of going many times to Jagannath Puri with Srila Gurudev. And we have our ashram just about 7 kilometers from Jagannath Temple, where we can see the chakra, we can circumambulate the Jagannath Temple, and on this day, Ratha Yatra, tomorrow, you can go and see the Lord. And I've never braved the crowds, because there are just billions of people that come from all over India and all over the world to participate in this festival. And people do get trampled. People do die in this festival. So a lot of pushing and shoving because everyone wants to pull the ropes of Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev. There's some blessing that, like if you are participating in pulling Krishna and Subhadra and Baladev from Dwarka to Vrindavan, if you are helpful in this journey, you will never have to come back to samsara, to birth, death, old age, and disease in the material world. So everybody's like rushing and pushing and shoving to pull the Lord's chariots. I never braved it, even though I've been many times for this occasion, but I'd go with Gurudev at night because customarily the Lord would spend the night in the road. Before he enters the Gundicha temple, Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev, in each of their chariots, they spend one night in front of the Gundicha temple and spend the whole night receiving offerings and worship from his devotees, from their devotees. So we would go, when the Lord would reach Gundicha, Gurudev would jump in the car, and as many of us as possible, we'd jump with him, and we'd drive up close to Gundicha temple and park and come out and see Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev. And Gurudev would always say, don't think you can see him, actually, with your mundane eyes, your imperfect vision. He can give us vision of his real form through devotion. So we go in a prayerful mood. Gurudev himself would say, I go before Jagannāth. He would call him Sir. Sir, I'm here at your service. Please see me. I cannot see you. And please engage me in your seva, your service. And in this mood, he would pray to the Lord Jagannāth. We'd stand behind him, like, see me too. We'd stand behind him, visit Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev. You can offer coconuts and ghee lamps and offerings. Some people bribe the servitors of Jagannāth to let them on the carts to embrace Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev. We've seen that in the case of one of our Brazilian devotees, gave his like Rolex watch. Whoa. He gave his watch, Rolex watch, to mount Jagannāth's cart and to embrace Jagannāth. Wow. And Gurudev was like, he responded like, all right, like I can appreciate this enthusiasm and eagerness, but it's not about the physical anything. But this devotee just was so desperate to embrace Jagannāth.
It's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. His name's Aravinda Lochan Prabhu. Yeah, so we would go with Gurudev, get to see Jagannāth, Subhadra, Baladev in the road, offer our worship, pay our obeisances, and we go back peacefully. No drama, no pushing, shoving. We got our darshan. And yeah, that was the way to go if you're an introvert and you don't like being in a huge crowd and you don't want to be pushed around. Sometimes the Lord's chariots get stuck in different parts of the road on the journey. By his will, he chooses to stop somewhere, and nobody can move him unless he wants to move. And we saw this. This is illustrated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita when Jagannāth stops and Mahaprabhu is there dancing at his cart with all of his groups of parties. He arranges that there's like 7 groups with a kirtan leader, with a mridanga player, with dancers, with kartal players. The Lord decides to stop to watch watch Mahaprabhu dance. And the cart's not moving, so Mahaprabhu was the only one who could get the cart to move by pushing the cart with his head. Then Jagannath playfully accepts. Okay, Mahaprabhu wants me to move. He's pushing me with his head. They, try to bring elephants and so many strong men to move the cart, but it only moves by the Lord's will and mercy. So sometimes the Lord doesn't make it to the Gundicha temple on that first day. It could take as long as he wants. And we've seen like 4 or 5 days spending in the road. Everyone can see him. Everyone can worship him. All the people who are not allowed in his temple can see him as much as they like on this journey. So that's what we're celebrating. The Lord of the universe and his mercy and his chariot ride to Vrindavan, going to visit his girlfriends, headed by Srimati Radharani. And we see after the 5th day of the Lord spending his pastimes, Krishna's wife in Dwaraka, in the Jagannāth temple, Mahalakshmi, she starts getting angry because Jagannath says, I'll be right back. I'm just going to visit my parents and my family. I'm going with my brother and sister to make it look good. In India, there's always the chaperones. That a girl just can't go and do something. You need to bring your brother or some chaperone of some kind. So Krishna's showing, I'm bringing my brother and sister. We're innocently just going to visit Vrindavan. But 5 days passes. And Mahalakshmi is like, my husband went to visit Vrindavan, and she knows something about the gopis and Radharani and starts getting really jealous. And then she's furious, he's cheating on me. And she gets decked out in all of her beautiful gear, her jewelry, makeup, opulent clothes. She's the goddess of fortune, personified goddess of opulence. She gets dressed to kill, and she goes with her associates, her female associates, to go and demand, Jagannath, come back, come home now. You've exceeded your few days, and time to come home. I know what you're up to. She goes, it's called Hera Panchami. Panchami, fifth day, she goes and assaults the servitor. She can't enter Vrindavan, so she can only go to the outside of Gundicha temple and deliver her threats and demand that Jagannath come back. And her associates, they assault the servitors of Jagannath, punching, scratching, assaulting the servitors of Jagannath, demanding he come home. And then she goes back, and Lord Jagannath hears this and goes back to his home in Dwaraka, the Jagannath temple in Jagannath Puri. So that's all elaborately described in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj. And Mahaprabhu and Sarup Damodar and Srivas Pandit are watching this and laughing and having a very intimate, elaborate discussion about this. Very deep stuff and very high, very esoteric, and it can only be revealed in the heart. We can understand something intellectually, but it's amnai, it's revealed truth. And simply by honoring this pastime and participating on some level, by going and pulling the Lord, or just hearing about it, hearing about these pastimes, allows these pastimes to descend in our hearts and our minds. And so much spiritual benefit comes to us in our lives, taking us closer to this reality, allowing us some entrance into this reality, and bestowing, sowing the seeds of supreme ecstasy and fulfillment and beauty and charm and sweetness, all the things that rasa we're trying to find in our lives, usually in the wrong way. We're getting frustrated trying to find these fulfilling, this need, fill this void for fulfillment outside of ourselves, repeatedly being frustrated because it's an inside job. Fulfillment comes from within our love for our infinite Lord, who we are part and parcel of. In reality, that's where we're going to find that fulfillment, that sweetness, that beauty, that charm, that love and affection that we are hankering for. Not from the outside. Within, the Lord lives with us in our hearts. He's also living as His supreme person. We're all part of Him, parcel of Him, and it is within our best interest to become acquainted with this reality. And that's what we're doing in our lives, trying to realize these things by descending grace. So these festival days, they allow us to remember these divine pastimes and hear from our gurus about all the beauty and the sweetness in these pastimes, and ontological truths and philosophical truths, the ideals, the conceptions. This divine terminology is all delivered to us from our guardians, all giving us some tangible relationship to Krishna. So it's an inconceivable, wonderful time of year we are celebrating. And today and tomorrow, Gundicha Marjan and Ratha Yatra. There's so much to hear. Everyone can read Chaitanya Charitamrita, read the articles of our Guru Varga, scsmot.com, gaudiyadarshan.com, also on all our outlets, social media outlets. We're going to be sharing some of these, a drop of these beautiful truths and sweetness for everyone to hear about and to observe wherever they are in the heart. If you can go to Puri, you can participate. If you're far away, you can participate. It's all a matter of heart and mind and soul.